I am DM Zone. This is Gamers Oasis. It's going to be vlog number 12. We're going to do some hunting and we're going to do some hunting. Okay, guys, so I don't know if you can hear off in the distance, there's a woodpecker. It is coming on to about 4 o'clock. If you don't know, that's any time, any time around now you can start to see deer. The rut is a time when bucks don't think right. They get silly, they get less cautious, they take more risks because they're trying to find females. So they put themselves on the line more, and the females drive them crazy. Now we're a little before that. They say, at least in Kansas, that around the 7th to the 10th is about the start of rut, like the big start of rut, or when they're fully in it. And I'm on the 5th, and I've seen lots of sign. I think we're in that pre-rut, which means that you won't see deer nearly necessarily walking around being stupid, but come as it gets right up to dark, which today is, it's considered to be sunset at 6:30, which means at 7 o'clock you're able to well, you have to 7 o'clock to shoot. You can't shoot past 7 on this day in this location. I'm going to try and give you a little bit more of a over here is a grove of trees. Here you can see I got actual trees. Give it this around there. And there. And it's just like this. So that's what's around me. I'm going to continue talking about Entropia Universe, though. Alright, so basically the thing is, guys, the grindhouse is going to get more common items because of the low efficiency. And it's going to get more head or pack worth for every kill because it's going to spend more doing it. And the larger the health pool of the creature, the more you're going to get. So something like Exors with Blazar Fragments and these other things, tier 2 components, might be considered a common drop, or they might be considered a rare drop. If they're considered a common drop and you use the grindhouse, man, you could probably double or triple, if one was a guess. Hope's probably a better word. You could hope to get 1 or 2 times what you get with the Bukin. Now this hunt here is the first hunt, but I'll tell you there's a second hunt, and the second hunt has also about the same amount of Blazar Fragments found. If I was to use a grindhouse and I were to get double, that would dramatically increase the rate of which I was able to get, because first of all, the grindhouse uses more ammo, so 50 ped to the grindhouse is quicker than it is to the Bukin. Less kills, less chances of globals, less those type of things. But if it were to double or by a factor increase my more common loot because of the low efficiency, it would almost focus it on that. Then that could mean that the super high demand common items like a Blazar Fragment might drop at a higher rate. And that could be pretty spectacular. Then that makes you wonder, what about skins? Maybe if I wasn't going after menorahs for their special weapon drops, or if I wasn't going after hornets for their special weapon drop and I just went after them for their skins, maybe I could literally have more skins drop because I'm using the weapon that pushes the loophole to that side, which now makes us really reconsider what we're doing with our weapons. Are we focusing on a spectrum of loot? So super popular items that are common, that have, let's say, 130 to 700% markup. If you were to focus on them versus the 150%, 180%, 250% gun that you might get, what would that be like? And I think that's something that maybe now we have to really take into consideration. I think this is maybe a difference in reality. And what if you were to switch between these? So what if you spent 150 ped being inefficient and then went super efficient for 50 ped? Would that change how that 50 ped was over, let's say, 20 fights, which is going to turn that 50 ped into 1,000 ped? So if you were to do that 20 times, where you use the Bukin, let's say, you spent 20 50 ped hunts on the same creature, you get your result. Then what if you did 20 Bukin hunts, but before each one of your hunts, you did 3 grindhouse hunts that were worth 200 ped? Because you dumped so much into it at a poor efficiency and then jumped to a higher efficiency, would that be like the tidal wave thing they used to talk about, where people would get like globals would happen in waves? Like eventually so much would be built up and then there'd be like a release and then boom, someone would get like a global, and then it would subside and it'd build up and then boom, someone would get it, and that like the shared pool. Or if I was using my grindhouse and there was other competitors around, would I just be feeding their globals? And that's the one thing you probably would never know unless you were in a very, very controlled environment with like only you and your buddies hunting on like some portion of next island or something, or some really super uninhabited area. An instance, maybe. But maybe that's the best way to go with an instance. Maybe it's the best way to go to have 3 people with inefficient weapons and then the main DPS with a very high efficient weapon. That's very interesting thoughts. I don't know what all of those I can test. I do think that the 1,000 ped hunt makes a lot of sense, but I'm not sure. The whole hunting or targeting at a spectrum sounds like an interesting thought, and I want to focus more on that. Whether I drop 1,000 ped into a Bukin and then another 1,000 ped into a Bukin plus 4,000 ped into a Bukin into the grindhouse, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. That'd be stuff I have to think about, maybe taking steps over time. We'll just see what happens. Maybe I get 250 ped. I can decide to go ammo, and one day a month I'll just go do a hunt. And then a year and a half from then, I will have, well, a year and 8 months, I'll have my answer. That'd be worth the wait if it didn't change between now and the next time. I don't have the time, or frankly the ped, to do that sooner. And I don't have 250 ped worth of ammo. I have been mining, and that'll be my transition into mining. So, as some of you know, I bought an F101, and it has been leveling up nicely. It is at 29% the first level, and I've been debating on what I want to do with it, because there is no max learning on it, but there's a learning period. I think the learning period is 0 to 1. So when I get above 1, will it become more efficient than what it already is? When I look at the numbers, they're all maxed. I max my depth, I max my times per minute, I max my, all those things. They're all at cap, essentially. And would anyone ever buy an upgraded F101? I mean, F105, sure. There's value in that. But I'm not sure there's value in an upgraded F101, like a tier upgrade. So you could do an amp on it. I mean, maybe if you were just Mr. Moneybags and you were just starting out, you could drop an amp on it and it'd be worth it. But I think that's an extremely small market. I think this little discussion with my phone while I'm out hunting answers that question. I won't do it. However, I went looking, at least in Arcadia, there are no F102s, F104s, or F105s. There's only an F103, and it's not the cheapest of prices. And there was like 3 or 4 of them. So it looks like F103 is a common jumping point from 1 to 3. And the learning period for that, F101, or F103, if I remember right, is from 1 to 2.9, or 2. I don't know, something like that. 2 maybe? I don't know. It's higher than the F101. I think it was 2.9. And when you get to the 105, it was like 5 to 11, which is where I want to be. I want to be with the 105. I've been told with an F105, you can mine on the moon, which means I would not have to leave the moon to do my mining, which is, it's whatever. It's not that far to the planet. It's worth flying to the planet, and I'm not sure I want to fly and risk taking all that ore from the planet or from the moon to the planet to sell. And I'm certainly not traveling across space towards Calypso in a Sleipnir with a bunch of ore that can be looted. Now I go there with a bunch of other stuff that can't be. I made things with it, like weapons. Different story. Which is kind of the road I'm going. The thing I was thinking about was finding a craft I can make it in a planet where maybe the resources are available, because you don't have the competition of market as you do in Calypso. Then fly it to someplace like Calypso to sell. Or you could just leave or have something that you could sell here on planet Arcadia. Things like armor plates, weapon upgrades, weapons, limited stuff for the most part. Anything unlimited, you're going to have people who are, I'm sorry, I'm just looking around at the same time. I don't want deer to sneak up on me while I'm doing this. Anything unlimited, people would have a greater likelihood of be willing to fly for, or they would already have it. I'll look at something real quick. I can't tell. Way off in the distance, like a little black house. And that might be a cow facing me. It's way off either way. There's a plane flying above me. I don't know if you can hear it. I'm not near a city. It's a crop duster. Lets you know how far from outside of the city I am, what most people would consider the city. The town I am next to is maybe 1,000 people, maybe. And it is 22 miles to 26 miles, depending on which direction you go in the road, to the next big city. And if you go 22 miles, that city is probably about 10,000 people. And if you go 26 miles, that town's probably about 3,000 people. Not very big. To get to the next town of 25, 30,000 people, town I live in, which is about an hour and 20 minutes away from where I am right now, it is 27,000 people. If you were to go about the same distance, because you'd have to go off the main road and then go south about 30 miles, there's another one. It's about the same size. They're 50 miles apart, but there's the way you turn everything makes it about the same distance from where I am right here. If you were to go east, essentially, from where I am, about 2 hours away, you have two options. One is about 50,000, the other one's about 40,000. And if you went there half hour from there, you have Wichita, basically. It's a big 1 million plus people town and the closest covered mall. None of the 25,000, 27,000 people towns I was telling you about have covered malls. I don't even think the 40 or 50,000 towns have covered malls. Look up Great Bend or Hutch, Kansas. See if either one of those have. Here's where I am with things. I have spent a fair amount of money mining, trying to get my skill up. I've been told the lower levels are the harder levels because you put your money in, but your depth isn't very good, and you get common stuff that everyone else is getting. And essentially, okay, so I was thinking about this too. Let me get into this real quick and then I'll get off it. Get back to what I was talking about. Essentially, there are 3 paths to make money, 3 main pillars. You remember that from my very first vlog. There's crafting, mining, and hunting. When you are in a starting area, everyone is hunting the same creature as you. That's why the recommendation for most people is get away from the starting area, because you're hunting the same thing everyone else is hunting, and that means everything you're hunting is overkilled, and everyone's trying to make a penny off it. No one's leaving it in the ground. No one's selling it to the TT market. Everyone's trying to sell it. So you're going to be fighting for 0.5%, 0.2%, or 2.2% to 0.5% on most of the items you find. It's not worth it. When you do mining, everywhere is a starting area. There is nothing outside of the starting area. It's based on depth. So if you're able to go 250 feet or shallower, and that's all you can do, then you're just like everyone else. And geographically, you can move as far away as you want. You're still in the same depth. That's why, if you watch Stevie P, he talks about get to the biggest finder you can find quickly. Excuse me. So you can get more depth and get away from the starting area. That's the short of what he was trying to get to in that video. That literally, no matter what planet you're on, where you're at, if you can mine it, and you're in the same boat as everyone else, you're farming the same stuff as everyone else, and everyone else is trying to sell it and make pennies off it. Now, I will say, the last couple of hunts I was on, I did much better. Well, one in particular, I did much better with finding a larger portion. This thing was a size 4, size 5 claim of Bithmoose, which is a ore that's worth something like 355%. So I had very little bismuth prior to this, and the bismuth I found brought me from like 70 pec to like 4 ped. Now 70 pec only works out to be 2.8 ped, but 4 ped, now you're talking into the teens. Now it's worth selling. So I put that up in the auction hall. I also had another type of stone, AAK something or other, Aka something, Aka, I can't remember. But I picked up a bunch of that. Like, I want to say I picked up 7 ped of it in 2 drops, 2 finds. So that gave me 11.3 ped of this ACK something or other. And it was I want to say like 155% markup or something. So that went for something, and now it's worth selling. You can see the shadows are getting a little longer. I'm facing east. Well, a little north. At least I think I'm a little north. Maybe I am facing directly east looking at the shadows. But essentially, as these shadows get longer, it creates more shadow. And the deer like to be on these sides of the trees with the shadow. And that's where they walk. And they come right down this fence row. 2 feet in front of me is a barbed wire fence. And there's a row of trees that runs north-south right along it. It's all dead old wood on the edge of a abandoned, not really abandoned, just no one lives in it. It's an old homestead. And the barbed wire fence doesn't keep cows en route anymore. It's too easily crossed, but there is an electric fence I have to cross to get here. And this whole time, you haven't heard a vehicle go by, even though I'm 80 yards, 50 yards from a road. A dirt road, mind you. And the reason why you haven't heard that is because it is so quiet out here, and there's so little going on. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you next video.